Now I'm going to show you how to incorporate this app and actually use it in your classroom and in your lessons. If you want to use it as group work, the easiest way to do it with group work is to make a small group of students and assign one student within that group, ideally a responsible student, to be the guide for the group, and the rest of the group members join their guides' expeditions and go through it like I showed you in the previous two videos. I found that when I tried guiding an entire class at once, it kind of got overwhelmed and it didn't work for all of them, so I think it was just too many trying to join the same guide, but it does work really well in smaller groups. If you want to do it individually, there is a way to have students choose an expedition, or you tell them what expedition to do and they can go through and explore it on their own. The way to do that, I would tell my students to search for whatever expedition I want them to do. So for example, if I was going to have them do one on the Gold Rush, then I would tell them to just search Gold Rush. Once they find it, they have to click on it to download it. I already have it downloaded. It comes up and it says to either view in VR or view full screen. The view in VR you would only do if you have the virtual reality headsets. You most likely do not, so you're just going to click view full screen. And then it comes up like it would if you were a guide, except you're not guiding anyone, you're just looking at it on your own. In the top right, the third little button over is a picture that looks like the VR headsets. They look like little goggles. If you click on that, then it allows you to explore this expedition on your own. What you're seeing right now is how it would be if you were using a VR headset. However, again, you are probably not, so you're going to want to click the full screen button in the bottom right-hand corner, and then it comes up full screen. There's kind of a little welcome box there. It says press button to start down here. Again, if you're not using headset, then you just click your screen, and that's just pressing the button. It's just clicking anywhere on your screen. It then shows you a description of this scene. So this is the first scene. You can actually use your fingers to scroll in on the description to see it better. The little white dot that you see in the center of the screen is your pointer. So you use the pointer to click on different things that you want to click on. So if I want to click on this arrow to scroll down to read the rest of this, then I'm going to put the little white dot over it, and then I just press anywhere on my screen, on my device. It also has the questions there. So you can have a student go through and say, go to each of the scenes in the Gold Rush and answer the intermediate question. So they can do that on a separate sheet of paper, or on a Google Doc, or they can do it as a discussion, however you want to do that. They can also look at the different points of interest over here. So if I want to look at the Gold Country, I'm going to click on that. So I put the pointer over and I clicked on it. Then the arrow comes up to show me where to go. So I move my device. So I'm actually physically moving to look at this section. And it says Gold Country, and it describes what that was. If you want to go to the next point of interest, you click this arrow, and then it shows you where it is. So again, I'm turning my entire body to go and look at this point of interest over here. So here's the other point of interest. If I want to look at a different scene, I need to move my device so it's almost looking at the ground. And there are some buttons here. There we go. So these arrows on the side can switch scenes. So I can click, I put the pointer over the arrow and I click. I just touch my screen and it goes to the next scene. Or if I want to view all of the scenes at once, I go to the scenes button and it shows all of them up here. I can click through and choose a different one to go to. So if I want to look at the blacksmith shop, I just point the pointer over that. And then I move to the blacksmith shop. I can look around and view this different area. So then to exit this expedition, I just click the arrow in the top left corner and it takes me out of this expedition. where it takes me back to being guide, and then I click the X in the top, and it just keeps going back to where I started. In the previous video, I showed you the Monticello expedition. When I did this one with my class, I actually had them fill in a graphic organizer as they went. So while they were going through and looking at the different rooms in his house, they were also completing a graphic organizer. So the graphic organizer I had them complete had the names of the different rooms. It had something interesting in the room they had to write down, so they would click on the different points of interest and find something that they thought was interesting. And then they had to tell me how that area or object might have described Jefferson's personality. So the point of this lesson was to compare how Thomas Jefferson wanted to be viewed by the public and how he actually was on his own, his differences in personality. So we looked at how the rooms that he had in his house that were meant for entertaining and meant for the public were very different than the rooms that were just his private rooms. And we discussed what that said about him and how he portrayed himself versus how he actually was. So there are a lot of different ways that you can incorporate these expeditions into your classroom. Again, just viewing them and doing the